Hi Year 6 and welcome to Tuesday's reading lesson. So for today's lesson you are going to need your extract from yesterday, which came from this book here, Stuff You Should Know About the Human Body. And remember, if you joined yesterday, we looked at the very first page, the very first double page spread of that book. So our first question is to recap. I want you to remind yourself, pause the video and jot it down. What were the arrows with the lights on used for in these texts? So they popped up a few times. What were they used for? Okay, so hopefully you remember correctly. They were used for like fun facts or extra information or little did you knows. A lot of them had numbers in. They were kind of extra information that didn't fit in any of the paragraphs and interesting facts, I would call them. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of activities together, and then mainly today's lesson will be about you working independently on some questions. So have a go first of all at completing these. I'm going to talk through them and then you can pause to write down. So each gap in the sentence is an organ. This shouldn't be too difficult. You need to refer back to the text and fill in the organ for each one. If that's super easy, then I want you to add why you think they picked that description, so why they chose that as the heading. So pause the video to finish those 3 sentences. Okay, so hopefully that was not too difficult. And the best way to find these is a retrieval question. So it's just simply locating it in the text. And each one has got the kind of the heading in it. So it directs you to the right place in the text. So for Powerhouse, you need to scan through your text, find Powerhouse. And if you read that, it says, join us inside your heart. See the valve snapping open, etc. So the organ is the heart. The heart is the powerhouse. Okay, sewage works. If you scan through to find that, it's the one by the big water slide into the sewage. And it says dive into the large intestine. So that's your organ there, the large intestine. And then the last one, the control deck. Take a look inside your brain as the control team stays on alert for danger signals. So it's your brain is the last one there. Now, if you engaged in the challenge, you will have some different ideas why they chose that. For example, the brain is the control deck because it controls everything you do. Sewage works is probably kind of obvious. It's your digestive system. It's where the waste goes, and that's essentially what goes down the toilet and down the pipes and into the sewage. Okay, so well done if you challenged yourself to think about the connections and why. I'm going to look now at something that's going to help you to answer your independent questions, okay? So we talked yesterday about this whole page being a bit of a metaphor, comparing your body to a roller coaster or a theme park. So I want to remind ourselves, what is a metaphor? What does a metaphor mean? What is a metaphor? So if you think you know, jot it down. If not, wait and I will explain it through. So a metaphor is an example of some figurative language, and we've looked at these in school. We've looked at metaphors, we've looked at similes, we've looked at personification especially. Okay, and a metaphor is a comparison, but unlike a simile, which uses like or as, for example, say this classroom is as hot as the sun, that would be a simile. A metaphor says it actually is it, okay? This classroom is the sun. This chair is a fluffy cloud, okay? Anything that actually says it is what it is. It's not really, but it gives you the comparison, okay? So if I say my chair is a fluffy cloud, you can understand that my chair feels nice and soft and spongy. It's not actually a cloud, but it's a way of describing it to give you a bit more information. So in this text, we've got a metaphor, but we've got an extended metaphor. So it's not just mentioned once. It continues its same theme throughout the whole thing. So it starts at the beginning by saying the amazing roller coaster journey. And then it carries on right up until that end arrow that says go, which says, are you ready? Climb aboard, join us for the journey. So we've got this metaphor of these like roller coasters, these other vehicles, a journey, the whole thing coming together. So that is an extended metaphor because it goes through the text, and you will need that in your questions. So Off you go now to be independent. Find the questions on the website. They're a mixed bag of comprehension, but they're focusing on this extended metaphor. So you can go back and get my explanation if you weren't sure, but I've also popped a little explanation at the top to remind you. So good luck with that. Send through your work at the end and join us for the drop-in session if you need any help with anything. Thanks for joining the lesson.